Hello students, in the last class we completed the second thermodynamic quantity, that is the heat and the heat capacity. Okay, now in this today's lecture we are going to discuss the third thermodynamic quantity, that is known as a internal energy. It is also known as a intrinsic energy, internal energy or intrinsic energy. The symbol is U. Sometimes it is represented as a E. The symbol of internal energy U, or sometimes it can be represented as a E. Okay. Now every substance is associated with a certain definite amount of energy, which depends upon the chemical nature of the substance and the state that existing in the existing state of the substance. The total energy stored in a system is referred as its internal energy or intrinsic energy. Now this internal energy or intrinsic energy actually originated by the position as well as the motion of the molecules, atoms and subatomic particles present in the system. The internal energy does not include the energy raising by the gravitational force. Okay, it is not included. Gravitational force is not included in the internal energy. Okay, internal energy is nothing but the sum of the total all kinds of energies associated with the matter in the system. The internal energy of a system mainly composed of the two parts: number one, potential energy; number two, kinetic energy. Potential energy nothing but the binding energy, kinetic energy nothing but the thermal energy. We can conclude that the internal energy of a system is the sum of the kinetic energy, potential energy and other forms of energy. But here what I am doing, the other forms of energy I am not considering negligible, because the main energy of a system, that is the internal energy of a system, is associated with its kinetic energy by virtue of motion, potential energy by virtue of its position. Okay, now here kinetic energy is due to the molecular motion, yes, which depends only on the temperature. Kinetic energy depends on what? Temperature. That means kinetic energy is a function of temperature. Kinetic energy is a function of temperature. Okay, and the potential energy which arises due to the molecular arrangement or molecular configuration, and which depend upon the separation between the molecules. The separation between the molecules, and also it is volume dependent. Volume dependent. So finally we can conclude that here the kinetic energy is a function of temperature and potential energy is a function of volume, because it is volume dependent. Volume depend. Okay, and overall we can conclude that the internal energy of a system is a function of both temperature and volume. Both temperature, internal energy of a system is a function of both volume and temperature. Okay, now what are the main characteristics of internal energy? Now here internal energy of a system, it is a extensive property, that is a mass dependent property, and also it is a state function. It is a state function. We know what are extensive properties and what are state functions. Okay, the absolute value of internal energy cannot be determined accurately or cannot be determined, because to determine the absolute value of internal energy we have to consider the absolute value of translational energy, vibrational energy, rotational energy, etc. But we cannot calculate all these values accurately, so that's why we could not able to determine the absolute value of internal energy. But we can calculate change in internal energy. It is not, are you getting my point? The change in internal energy we can calculate. How to calculate the change in internal energy? Now the final internal energy U2, in initial internal energy U1. Let's suppose state 1, the system in a state 1 internal energy, let's suppose U1. In a state 2, the internal energy of a system is U2. And what is the difference here? Delta U. So delta U is nothing but change in internal energy. Change in internal energy. Are you getting my point? Next to the change in internal energy is independent on the path by which the final state is reached. Yes, already we know the difference between the state function and path function. State functions are those functions which depend upon initial state of the system irrespective of the path of the transformation of the system. That means the values of function which depend upon the current state of the system, but not on the path of the transformation from which the system is achieved. Okay. Now here the change in the internal energy for a cyclic process is zero, because in a cyclic process initial state and final state will be same. That's why the internal energy change in a cyclic process become what? Zero. It is only valid for cyclic process. Okay. Among the solids, liquids, gases forms same substance. Now the gaseous substance has the highest internal energy because due to greater contribution of translation energy, that is the kinetic energy of the gases. Suppose I am taking the one example. Let's suppose I am taking the 100 grams of ice, 100 grams of the water and 100 grams of the steam. 100 grams of the steam. That means all these three physical states are corresponding to water only, but ice is a solid state form, water is a liquid state form and steam is a vapor or gaseous state form. Now you see, same amount of substance I am taking 100 grams. Now tell me in which physical state of the substance there is a high internal energy. That is obviously in the steam, because in the steam higher energy will be present due to thermal motion. So the gas particles possess higher kinetic energy in the gaseous state. Are you getting my point? So this is a very important statement. When we compare the internal energy of a same substance of a same mass, so solid substance has least energy as compared to liquids, and which have least energy as compared to gaseous state. That means overall the gaseous state substances have more internal energy as compared to liquids and solids. Are you getting my point? Now here internal energy is a function of temperature and volume. Just now I told you. Okay. Now the internal energy is a function of temperature and volume. Here the internal energy, now here the internal energy is a state function. State function can be exact differential. So that's why I am writing the internal energy du will be equal to del u by del v at a constant temperature T into dV plus del u by del T at a constant volume V into dt. So this is called Euler's theorem. Euler's theorem. Are you getting my point? Now u is a state function, so it should be exact differential. That's why I am using the differential form here. Are you getting my point? Now it is a general formula for calculating the change in internal energy, okay, which is applicable for all substances. We can use solids, liquids, ideal gas, real gas, but only for change of the state only for change of the state. That means one state to another state. It is not valid for the physical change as well as the chemical change, because in physical change and chemical change pressure, volume, almost to pressure and temperature are constant, where in the physical change as well as chemical change we assumed that pressure and temperature are assumed to be constant. Are you getting my point? So case 1, suppose I am considering the ideal gas. In case of an ideal gas, the molecules have zero intermolecular force of attractions. What is the definition of an ideal gas? A gas which obeys all gas laws under the given conditions of okay, a gas which obeys gas laws. Okay. The second definition of ideal gas, a gas which has neither attractions nor repulsive forces. And one more definition, the gas whose molecular volume, the volume of gas molecules is negligible as compared to the total volume of the container. Okay. So there are different types of definition of a ideal gas. Okay. Now when we consider the ideal gas, where there will be no any intermolecular force of attractions and also the negligible volume. Okay. Now for ideal gas, this is a very important relation for ideal gas. That is the del U by del V at a constant temperature is 0. Once again I am repeating, this is a very important relation. Del U del V, del U upon del V at a constant temperature will be always equal to 0. This is only valid for ideal gas. Only valid for ideal gas. Are you getting my point? Now here, a gas whose internal energy is a function of only temperature. The gas whose internal energy is a function of temperature, then the gas is referred as a ideal gas. That means the gas whose internal energy, now it is only a function of temperature. The gas whose internal energy is a function of temperature only, such gas is called ideal gas. This is the definition of thermodynamics. The definition of ideal gas from the thermodynamics: the gas whose internal energy is only a function of temperature. It only depends upon the temperature. Okay. Now for a ideal gas, internal energy what is a function of temperature? Just now I told you the variation of internal energy with respect to volume keeping the temperature is 0, because temperature is constant. Just now I told you temperature, the kinetic energy is a function of temperature. Now in ideal gas, only the internal energy corresponding to the kinetic energy. When the temperature is constant, the kinetic energy is also constant, because kinetic energy directly proportional to absolute temperature. Are you getting my point? When the temperature is constant, that means the kinetic energy is also constant, and kinetic energy is constant. Kinetic energy nothing but the internal energy. So kinetic energy constant means internal energy constant. Internal energy constant means change in internal energy, del U, du, whatever the change, that will be 0. That will be what? 0. Are you getting my point? The condition should be at constant temperature. The condition should be at constant temperature. Now here I am considering the function of internal energy in terms of temperature and volume. In terms of what? Temperature and volume. Are you getting my point? Now I am writing the exact differential equation: du equal to dou u by dou v at a constant temperature into dv, dou u by dou t at a constant volume into dt. Now what I am saying here, internal energy change with respect to volume keeping the temperature constant is 0. That means keeping the temperature, that means this term will be equal to 0. Are you getting my point? Once you are bring the value here 0, so finally you will get delta du will be equal to del u by del t at a constant volume into dt. Okay. Now in last class we explained the heat capacity at constant volume and heat capacity at constant pressure. So change in internal energy with respect to temperature. Change in internal energy with respect to temperature keeping the volume constant will be called molar heat capacity at constant volume. So N into Cv. du by dt at a constant volume will be equal to what? NCV. NCV. Are you getting my point? Now here, instead of du by dt at a constant volume, shall I write NCV? So finally you will get what? Du will be equal to NCV dt. This is the differential equation. This is a differential equation. So this is very, very, very important. This is only valid for ideal gas. Only valid for whom? Ideal gas. Are you getting my point? Now in this ideal gas, du is equal to NCV dt. It is valid for change of state of ideal gas for any process like isothermal process, adiabatic, isochoric, isobaric, or any polytropic process. Okay, you don't think that here Cv, that means volume is constant, so it is only significant for isochoric. No, it is valid for isobaric, isochoric, adiabatic, polytropic. Are you getting my point? Isothermal process. Now this is a differential form. Now what I am doing, integrating on both sides. The limits are u1 to u2 and temperature T1 to T2. So integral du will be equal to u and upper limit u2 minus lower limit u1. So u2 minus u1 is equal to delta u. Okay, and the temperature difference here integral delta t integral dt t. So upper limit T2, lower limit T1, T2 minus T1, delta t. So finally we can conclude delta u is equal to NCV delta t. So this is a very, very, very important. Now most of the questions means up to 80% or above 80% problems, more than 80% or 80% problems, majority questions, if you see, they given in terms of ideal gas. That's why this equation is very important. Once again I am writing delta U is equal to NCV delta T. Delta U is equal to NCV delta T. Okay, from this expression you see, for isothermal process, which process? For isothermal process, temperature is constant. Temperature is constant means change in temperature is 0. Once change in temperature is 0, if you bring the 0 here, the delta U value what? 0. So remember, in case of ideal gas, isothermal process, regarding the ideal gas, what is the change in internal energy? 0. Because isothermal process, temperature is constant. That's why change in internal energy constant. So change in internal energy is 0. Now second case, we are taking the real gas. Real gases having the attractive force as well as the repulsive force, and also their molecular volumes are considered. We should not neglect the volume of the real gas. Now that's why here what I am taking here, del U by del V at a constant temperature. Now it is not equal to 0. It is not equal to 0. This value given in the question. For real gases, the internal pressure, this is called internal pressure. Why we are using the internal pressure? Du by del V. Now what are the units for the internal energy? Internal energy units nothing but the Newton, meter nothing but joule. Okay, divided by the what is the unit for volume? SI unit meter cube. Okay, now if you see Newton for meter square, nothing but Pascal. Yes, that means delta U by delta V corresponding to internal pressure. Delta U by delta V corresponding to what? Internal pressure. Are you getting my point? Once again I am writing here. So internal energy nothing but the joule nothing but Newton into meter. And what is the unit for volume? SI unit, that will be the meter cube. So U by V, if you see the units, Newton meter upon meter cube, you will get Newton per meter square, nothing but Pascal. Pascal is the unit, SI unit for the pressure. Are you getting my point? Now the next one, what is the exact differential equation? du equal to del U by del V at a constant temperature T into dV, del U by del T at a constant volume into dV. Okay, now here you see, at constant temperature, the change in internal energy with respect to volume, it is not equal to 0. Remember, it is not equal to 0 because it is not a ideal gas, it is a real gas. Are you getting my point? This value should be given in the question. And what is the remaining value? du by dt at a constant volume into dt, nothing but NCV dt. Are you getting my point? Now here, now the next, this is only valid for which gases? Ideal gases. Now the case 3, solids and liquids. In case of solids and liquids, we know Cp minus Cv is equal to capital R. It is only valid for whom? Ideal gas. Only valid for whom? Ideal gas. It is not valid for real gases. It is not valid for solids. It is not valid for liquids. Now in case of solids and liquids, the Cp value almost equal to Cv, which is nothing but a total heat capacity. Let's suppose it is C. Now the internal pressure will be equal to 0. In case of solids and liquids. Are you getting my point? Now here du is equal to NCV dt. Okay, it is a differential form. If you integrating, you will get the final one. Du is equal to NC dV. Instead of here Cv, I am writing only C because it is solid or liquid. We should not write Cp or Cv, only we can write C. Are you getting my point? Now du is equal to NCV dt. du equal to NCV dt is applicable for all substances at constant volume. Is it true or false? This is very important statement. Once again, du equal to NCV dt is applicable for all substances at constant volume. Is it true or false statement? Let's suppose I am taking the volume is constant, because in the question volume is given constant. So change in the volume is 0. Now what is the exact equation, exact differentiation equation of the internal energy? du equal to del u by del v in at a constant temperature into dV plus del u by del t at a constant volume into dt. Now the change in the volume 0. So I am taking this value 0. That means enter this value becomes 0. Okay, then du equal to what? Del u by del t into constant volume into dt. Are you getting my point? This value nothing but indirectly cv dt. So du equal to ncv dt. du equal to ncv dt. Is it valid for all substances? Yes. Okay, because in the question the statement is given du equal to ncv dt. It is valid for all substances. You take solid substance, liquid substance, ideal gas, real gas. It is valid, but the condition will be constant volume. The condition should be what? Constant volume. Are you getting my point? And the next fourth thermodynamic quantity, which is known as a enthalpy. Known as what? Enthalpy. Enthalpy is represented by H. Enthalpy is represented by what? Symbol H. Okay. What is the enthalpy? Before going to that, I am writing some mathematical derivation here from the first law of thermodynamics. In the last class, I told you in the heat content, heat and heat capacity. So first law of thermodynamics, nothing but it is the energy neither can be created nor can be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to another form. Okay, du equal to dq plus dw. This is a differential form of the first law of thermodynamics. Otherwise delta u equal to q plus w. This is the actual equation and it is the differential form du. Okay, so du equal to dq plus dw. Now here what I am writing, instead of dw, that is the work done, shall I write minus p dv. This is the work done formula. dw is equal to minus p dv. So instead of dw I am writing the minus p dv and bring the minus p dv to the left side. You will get the du plus p dv equal to dq. Okay. Now what I am doing, I am adding vdp on both sides. vdp on both sides. Left side I am adding vdp and right side is also I am adding vdp. Do you know this is in the form of u into v dash plus v into u dash? That is the derivative of uv. So that's why derivative of pv. Are you getting my point? Left side, and there is a du, there is a dpv. So du plus dpv. Shall I write d of u plus pv? Okay, so derivative of u plus pv equal to dq plus pdv. So in this derivative of u plus pv, this is one of the important thermodynamic function, u plus pv. This thermodynamic function is known as enthalpy. Enthalpy is a thermodynamic function which involves internal energy and work form of energy. Now enthalpy H is equal to u plus pv. What is the enthalpy formula? H is equal to u plus pv, where u is called what? Internal energy. U is called what? Internal energy. Whereas pv is called what? Work form of energy. pv is called what? Work form of the energy. Are you getting my point? Now the definition of enthalpy, it is the total heat content of a system at constant pressure. What is the definition of enthalpy? It is the total heat content of a system where at a constant pressure. Remember, the total heat content of a system at constant volume is called internal energy. I am writing here total heat content of a system at constant volume is called internal energy. Is called what? Internal energy. What is the definition of internal energy? The total heat content of a system where at constant volume. Now what is the definition of enthalpy? It is the total heat content of a system where at constant pressure. At constant pressure enthalpy, at constant volume what? Internal energy. The other definition of enthalpy, it is the algebraic sum of the internal energy and work form of energy. What is the internal energy? U. What is the work form of energy? PV. The sum of U and PV is called enthalpy. The sum of U and PV is called what? Enthalpy. Okay. Enthalpy is a state function. Yes. It is an extensive property. Yes. It is mass dependent property. The absolute value of enthalpy cannot be determined like internal energy, but we can determine the change in the enthalpy. Let's suppose H1 will be the initial enthalpy and H2 will be the final enthalpy. So H2 minus H1 will be the change in the enthalpy. Change of the enthalpy. Okay. Now here change in the enthalpy, del dH is equal to dQ plus PdV, dH is equal to dQ plus PdV. Now the statement of enthalpy where at constant volume. At constant volume, change in the pressure will come 0. So if you bring the delta P V into delta dP, nothing but 0. So you will get to delta H is equal to delta dH will be equal to dQ, where at constant pressure. The heat content of a system. The heat content of a system, that means the heat exchanged at the constant pressure. Heat exchanged at the constant pressure is called change in enthalpy. Heat exchanged at the constant pressure is called change in enthalpy. Heat exchanged at constant volume is called change in internal energy. That is also I am writing, because for comparison what I am writing here, heat exchanged at constant volume is called change in internal energy. Change in what? Internal energy. Are you getting my point? At constant volume, heat exchange is called internal energy, and at constant pressure, heat exchange is called change in enthalpy. Change in what? Enthalpy. Are you getting my point? Next, enthalpy is a function of pressure and temperature. Okay, enthalphy is a function of temperature and pressure. Temperature and pressure. So enthalpy is a state function. So shall I write the exact differential form? Yes. dH is equal to del H by del P at a constant temperature into dP, del H by del T at a constant pressure into dt. Are you getting my point? Now here it is similar to internal energy. Okay. Now the first important note here, it is a general formula which is applicable for the change of state for all substances like solids, liquids and gases. Okay, it is applicable for state change, and it is not valid for the physical change as well as the chemical change. Why it is not valid for physical change and chemical change? Because where pressure is constant, once pressure is constant, that means delta P is equal to 0. Temperature is constant, that means delta T 0. If the delta P delta T 0, if the delta P delta T 0, all these terms will be 0, then delta H will be equal to 0. That means in any process, if you see, for a given reaction, definitely heat energy exchanges. Otherwise, without heat energy exchanges, even a physical process or a chemical process cannot occur. Let's suppose ice melt to give water. That means ice has to absorb the heat energy from the surroundings. Without absorbing the heat energy from the surroundings, how it is possible to melt ice into liquid? Are you getting my point? Otherwise, evaporation of a liquid. A liquid will evaporate by absorbing the heat energy. If there is no any heat energy absorbing, without heat energy absorbing, is it possible for a liquid to get vaporized? No, it is not possible. That's why here at constant pressure and at constant temperature cases, that means the physical change case and as well as the chemical change case, it is not valid. Only it is valid for the state change. It is valid for the state change. Okay. Now here also, just like in the previous internal energy, we have covered three cases. Case 1 ideal gas, case 2 real gas, case 3 solids, liquids. Here also first case ideal gas. Ideal gas, if you see, internal energy is a function of temperature. Here enthalpy is also function of temperature. Because if you see enthalpy, H is equal to U plus PV. Yes, I am writing U plus instead of PV, shall write ideal gas equation from PV is equal to nRT. Instead of PV, shall write the nRT. Yes, we know internal energy is a function of temperature, N constant, R constant, so T is variable, that means the PV value is also function of temperature. Yes, that means overall if you see, enthalpy is a function of temperature only in case of ideal gas. This is very important. Okay, now for a ideal gas, you see del H by del P at a constant temperature is 0. This is very important. You see, temperature is constant. Temperature is constant, that means the enthalpy of a system is constant, because enthalpy is a function of temperature. Just now I told you, when the temperature is constant, so enthalpy of a system is also constant. When the enthalpy is constant, so change in enthalpy delta H or dH will be what? 0. That's why I am taking the 0 here. Even if you see with respect to pressure, you can change it by with respect to volume, still the value becomes 0, because we are taking the temperature constant. We are taking what? Temperature constant. So these are the two important relations we have to remember regarding the ideal gas only. This is valid for ideal gas only. This is and this is. And what is the exact differential of the enthalpy? dH is equal to del H by del P into dP at a constant temperature T plus del H by del T at a constant pressure into dt. Okay. Now what I am saying here, at a constant temperature the value will be 0 only for ideal gas. So the remaining value will be del H by del T at a constant pressure into dt. Okay. So we know in the last class, that is the heat capacity at a constant pressure, Cp will be equal to dH by dt at a constant pressure into number of moles, that is for 1 mole. So it is a molar heat capacity. Molar heat capacity. Are you getting my point? So what I am writing here, just wait, what I am writing here, once again I am writing here, del dH by dt at a constant pressure will be equal to molar heat capacity. Shall I write NCP, where N corresponding to number of moles, N corresponding to number of moles. Okay. Now here del H by del T at a constant P will be equal to what? NCP. Okay. Now here instead of del H by del T at a constant P, shall write NCP. So if you bring this here NCP, you will get delta del dH is equal to NCP dt. This is a differential form. If you integrating on both sides, so integral delta H will be equal to H, and the lower limit will be H1 and upper limit will be what? H2. So here limit I am writing H1, here H2, and the temperature T1 and here temperature T2. So finally we have to remember this expression regarding the ideal gas. It is only valid for ideal gas. Remember, okay? This is a general formula which is applicable for ideal gas. Okay? And also any process, you take isothermal, isochoric, isobaric, adiabatic, polytropic. Remember, don't think here Cp, that means pressure is constant, that means it is only valid for isobaric. No, it is applicable for all processes, but only valid for which substance? Only ideal gas substance. Okay. Now the second case for real gases. Real gases, here the del H by del P at a constant temperature, it is not equal to 0. Okay, it should be given in the question. So finally, if you see in the exact equation, dH is equal to del H by del P at a constant temperature into dP, and here del H by del T at a constant P into dt, which is equal to NCP dt, which is equal to what? NCP dt. NCP dt. Are you getting my point? NCP dt. Okay. Now here one question is there. dH is equal to NCP dt is applicable for real gases under which condition? Under which condition? Now for real gas, I am using the dH is equal to what? Del H by del P into dP at a constant temperature plus NCP dt. Let's suppose which condition it will be equal to del H equal to NCP dt. Suppose if I am taking the pressure constant, when the pressure is constant, change in the pressure what? 0. So that means this value, if it is become 0 under constant pressure, then delta H is equal to NCP delta T or dH is equal to NCP dt. That means dH is equal to NCP dt. It is only significant at constant pressure. Where it is significant, applicable constant pressure. Are you getting my point? Now for solids and liquids, again in case of solids and liquids, Cp value almost to Cv value almost equal. That's why I am taking the total heat capacity C, and the del H by del P at a constant temperature I am using here 0. So delta H dH is equal to NCV dt. It is a differential form. If you integrate on both sides, integral delta H upper limit lower limit, if you replace, you will get delta H is equal to NC delta T. Remember, we should not write here delta C, we should not write Cp, we should not write Cv, only we have to write C. Okay, and the one more important thing here, relation between the enthalpy and internal energy. Let's suppose system 1 having internal energy U1, enthalpy H1, pressure P1, volume V1, pressure P1, volume V1, and it is changing into a state 2 by a process, okay, by a operation made on the system to bring the system from state 1 to state 2. Okay, in the state 2, internal energy U2, enthalpy H2, pressure P2, volume V2. Okay, we know H is equal to U plus PV. Yes, H1 is equal to U1 plus P1 V1 initial state, and final state H2 is equal to P2 plus U2 plus P2 into V2. Equation 1, equation 2, subtract 1 from 2, so you will get delta H is equal to H2 minus H1. Okay, U2 plus P2 V2 minus of U1 plus P1 V1. Take the here U1 U2 one side and P2 V2 P1 V1 on the other side. Okay, finally you can write delta H is equal to delta U plus P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Remember, this is valid for all substances. It is applicable for ideal gases. Okay, it is applicable for solids, liquids, ideal gases, real gases, for all substances, and also for all processes it can be possible. Okay, in case of a chemical reaction, let's suppose during a course of a chemical reaction, what happens? Let's suppose I am using one chemical reaction. Let's suppose nitrogen combined with hydrogen to give ammonia. Okay, now in this chemical reaction, what happens? 1 volume of nitrogen gas, 3 volume of hydrogen gas combined to give 2 volumes of ammonia. Do you know generally the chemical reactions occur at constant pressure and temperature? Okay, when the pressure constant, temperature is constant. If you see from ideal gas equation, P constant and T constant. Okay, R is itself constant. Shall I write the number of moles directly proportional to volume? Yes. So the volume directly proportional to number of moles. So if there any change in the volume equal to change in the number of moles. Change in the number of moles, how we can, G stands for gaseous moles. Only the gaseous moles will affect the change in the volume. In case of solids, in case of liquids, the number of moles not considered because there will be no effect on the volume. Okay, only gases will have more effect on the volume. Okay, now here if you see what is the delta Ng. Delta Ng nothing but the total number of moles of gaseous products minus total number of moles of gaseous reactants. This is very important. Okay, now here H is equal to U plus PV. So differentiating on both sides, delta H is equal to delta U plus delta PV. So instead of PV, shall I write nRT here? Yes, I am writing PV is equal to nRT. Just now I told you temperature is constant, bring the temperature outside, and R is also constant, bring the RT outside, you will get delta Ng. Here delta Ng value we know. If you replace the delta Ng value here, so delta H delta U relation. Okay, so when delta H is given, we can find delta U or vice versa. Are you getting my point? That means delta H is given, find the delta U, or delta U is given, find the delta H. Then what is the relation between delta H and delta U? Delta H is equal to delta U plus RT delta Ng. So this is a very important relation. What is the relation between delta H and delta U? Delta H equal to delta U plus RT into delta Ng. Now let's suppose how the delta H delta U relation changes. The first relation, that is the case 1 relation, if the change in the number of moles of gases, products and reactants will be 0. That means number of moles of gases products and number of moles of gases reactants are same. Delta Ng 0, so it bring the delta Ng 0, RT into 0, 0. So delta H equal to delta U. Delta H will be equal to delta U. Best example I am taking H2 plus Cl2 gives 2 HCl. Do you know HCl is 1 mole and Cl2 is also 1 mole? Remember, only for gaseous substances we have to consider the number of moles. Whereas hydrochloric acid, how many moles? 2 moles. So now tell me number of moles of gases products 2 minus number of moles of gases reactants 2. 2 minus 2 0. So delta Ng value 0. So delta Ng value 0. So delta H value equal to delta U. Are you getting my point? Now the case 2 value, if the delta Ng greater than 0. Let's suppose delta Ng value greater than 0, obviously delta H should be greater than delta U. Example, PCl5 decomposition to give PCl3 and Cl2. Here 1 mole of PCl5 decomposed to give 1 mole of PCl3 and 1 mole of Cl2. Remember, all the substances are gases. So how to find the delta Ng? Total number of gases moles of products, that means 1 plus 1 2, and reactants is 1, 2 minus 1 1. So delta Ng greater than 0. Obviously delta H should be greater than delta U. So delta H is equal to delta U plus RT into delta Ng value is 1. Okay. Now here temperature is given and R value we have to select. What is the R value here? R value in terms of joule 8.314 joule, 8.314 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse, and R value 2 calorie mole inverse Kelvin inverse. That is depending upon the units of delta H and delta U. Depending upon the delta H and delta U units, we have to take the R value. Remember, R value should not be taken 0.0821. 0.0821 only for liter atmosphere unit, not for joule, not for ergs, not for calories. Okay. And one more last relation we have, that is the case 3. If the delta Ng value less than 0, negative, obviously delta H should be less than delta U. Example, N2 combined with H2 to give ammonia. Now in this case, what happens? If you see, how many moles of ammonia is there? 1 mole. How many moles of hydrogen? 3 moles. How many moles of ammonia? 2 moles. Now tell me, total number of moles of gases products will be how many moles here? 2 moles. Minus of reactants will be 4 moles. 2 minus 4 minus 2. So delta H is equal to delta U minus 2 RT. In the sense delta H will be less than delta U. Yes. Otherwise delta U greater than delta H.